Well, hello, friends. I'm not real sure I'm going to end up recording and downloading this because I'm not really clear in my mind what exactly I'd like to say, and it seems to me to be a rather, shall we say, shabby message to present if I don't know what it is I intend to say. And that's part of what I want to say. Have you noticed with what do they call them? Sound bites, yeah. But there's these readers. Oh gosh, I wish I could remember the name. Presidents use them. It's a way to read your text as you're saying it, as if you were spontaneously combusting these words out of an honest heart. You're just reading it. Teleprompt. That's it. Sorry, I have a lot. I'm not good at tech. We know this. So in other words, in the teleprompter mind, do you notice the lack of silence? But which meaningful person that you've ever spoken with in your life, or persons, I hope more than one, did not employ silence? In other words, we've forgotten how to hear. What happens is our ears are so full of word noises, blah, 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 vaccine this, blah, blah, blah. In other words, it's just, I call it mouth noise. In other words, it's just words being thrown into the air, but there's no intention. In other words, it's not like a real word, it's just mouth noise. Well, it's more than that. So, in other words, I'm undermining it, but I have to in a way because in order to stay sane. So, sorry, I don't mean to misrepresent from the outset. There's something that's happening in our world where it's a little bit like magic statements, magic words. People are beginning to believe in magic statements again. What this means is that the enemy is busted the hell loose. We're in essentially a demonic. It's a little bit like Dien Bien Phu, I think it was called. The French were absolutely overrun by the North Vietnamese. Well, just call them the Vietnamese. Just destroyed them. Dien Bien Phu taught the West a new lesson. There is such a thing as undefeatable body power. We're involved in a war to the death. And the thing is, it's so refreshing and so good about it. It isn't up to you or me to figure out how this war is going to go. Are you kidding? No, it'd be a little bit like sitting in Dwight Eisenhower's, office in 1941. Just absolutely confident that you knew what was going to happen by 45. Dwight's going to make good decisions. Generals are going to come through, corporals, sergeants, GIs, airmen, women, men, armies. The whole thing's going to work. You're on the winning side. If you can imagine being in Eisenhower's office a little bit like that, and as he's considering, what should I do in 1940 here? This thing's getting crazy, with this guy over here, Hitler. And to know that you know that the winning side, the good guys, come out at the end. And so what we need, I think, is a sense in ourselves, just an old guy at the park. And it's kind of like we've lost something. We've lost something as men. We've lost something as women. Everybody's in engaging only with images on the web, not engaging with humans in real time, only engaging with memes and blipverts or whatever they're called, those ear things that hold your attention for about 2.2 seconds or whatever they are. There's dopamine hits occurring, various neurotoxins being rearranged, all kinds of angles. But here's the angle that wins. The Lord our God, who loved us and gave himself for us through his great love, has an excellent plan, and he is marvelously generous and so gracious and good. There's no arguing with his excellence, unless you want to argue with reality. If you'd like to argue with 1 + 1 = 2, go ahead. If you want to argue with God and air are both good things, go ahead. If you want to argue that little children smiling and fresh strawberries are both good things, you want to argue about that stuff, go ahead. Guess who made all of it, and much, much more than we could even imagine. So in other words, what's happening is there's sort of this bankruptcy in our time for the Christians to stand up, and essentially I call it the BS button, and that stands for male bovine animal with the horns, moo. Extract, we'll say the reduced composite. Bovine extract is what I say. And I think you would know that by 2 other letters, but I'm not going to go there because I'm a very civilized individual, by the way, and I never cuss much. But anyway, the point is, there's something that's bothering us as a people. And it's kind of like, whatever happened to home? Whatever happened to normal? Whatever happened to mom? Whatever happened to hometown? Everything's shifting so fast. There's nowhere to go back to except false memories, which only exist within your noggin. And that ain't wholesome. There's no home to go to. There's no place to respond and say, but wait, let me just get among my own folk and just rest for a week, and then I'll give you an answer after I've kind of normalized again. There's no normalization. It's not allowed anymore. Everything's push, push, hurry, hurry, shove, shove. Must be decided ASAP. That's how you can tell you when you're dealing with an enemy. That's how you can deal with the fraud. He's a liar. Tell him to park his hoo-hoo where it don't come back. I don't care. You know what we need is the space to stop thinking. And it's not as if there's some Zen silence concept, but it's kind of like, hey, Mike, shut up. Just shut up and listen to your daddy. You don't think he's silent on the matter, do you? Where do you think you learned this whole love for truth and integrity? Where do you think this whole idea came from? That family and truth and nation and decency matters. Where do you think that came from? Do you think you invented them, Mike? No, shut up. But it's so hard for me to shut up. To learn to be silent and say essentially this: Father Almighty, I'm asking you something, and I'm not going to move my mouth till I hear back from you. Well, how good am I for that? I'd say pretty darn bad. Shabby at best. But the idea I'm getting to you is this: as the world hurls and swirls and rushes and twists and turns and everything changes, everything turns A into B, B into Z, everything's switching, everything's changing places. You can't even tell whether a human being is a human being or not. Well, actually, I can, but some people claim they can't. Never mind them, they're nuts. But the point is, you hear little kids out there, I like that. Little kids, I think they're playing soccer or something like that. What I want to say is this. What we need is a time to be silent and consider in our heart before our Father. This is what I see here. This is what I see here. This is what I trust. Teach me the way. I know nothing except what you have taught me. And I'm so awfully thankful that you have taught me. But let's face it, I could learn some more, and it wouldn't hurt, and it might honor you. Pray in faith. That's how you pray in faith, brother. It isn't like, hey, Mr. Almighty, I'm here to blow smoke up your ass and tell you that I'm the greatest thing since Cheese Whiz, and that's why you should trust me. No, that's not it at all. The way you pray in faith is you tell the Father, look, I'm scared. There's so much happening. I don't get it. I wish someone wrote a rule book. Well, I guess you did, and let's face it, I haven't been paying very good attention. Help me to remember the parts of the rule book that I've fumbling on again. In other words, I want to know from you, living God, good counsel in the time I live in. Talk back to me. I'm talking to you in prayer. See, this is what the Presbyterians will never tell you. The Presbyterians will never tell you that when you pray from an honest heart, expect an answer. He's going to get back to you. He creeps them out so good. It's just wonderful. It's just worth ruining their whole lives for. I love doing it. But I don't want to make them horrible either. I mean, I'm not here to ruin anybody. I'm just saying, oh, such a relief to know that our Holy One, the Father, everlasting, really does care and really does know. And yes, you're not imagining things. He already knows ahead of all of your concerns and all of your worries and all of your fears. He has considered well his way, and it is perfect. Amen. So we're to proceed out of, I speak to you. I remain silent, awaiting your answer. And desire the faith to believe that when you do, that I heard from you, that I'm not making things up. I'm asking for all three at once. And it becomes a rhythm for us in prayer. This is how you pray. Don't lie to your Maker. That ain't going nowhere. But at the same time, when he begins to open himself to us in his marvelous word and by the power of the Spirit in any ways that he chooses, reminding you of beautiful, beautiful things and his glorious promise, you can't go wrong with him. There's no way that the side of Jesus loses in the long haul. What it looks like is the side of Jesus right now has got a target on her head. I've got to be hated. I've got to become a terrorist because they say I got to be a terrorist. Okay, I'm a terrorist. Here's my terror, and I'll tell you true. You should be terrorized. Jesus Christ the righteous, the one you murdered, he's coming back. This time clothed in immortal glory and power and holy fury. You do well to turn from your ways before that day. Please come in before that day. If you're a human, hear me, come in. If you're the enemy, to blaze us with you. I got no time for you. Move on. But for the humans, come in, please. Time's running short. The door's closing soon. Flourish because he loves you, not because you're smart. Be smart because he loves you. He's the center of things. Amen. Run fast. Run to win.